At supper, my sister chortled. Here's my fiancé. He's a ranger quite unlike you. Then wine doused my uniform while my parents chuckled. I'm Lee Reeves. And for 9 years I've been serving in the Army doing signals intelligence at Fort Meade. But to my family, my parents, Mary and Richard, and especially my sister, Lucy, it meant I pushed papers. I was the invisible one. Useful when they needed something, a punchline when they didn't. And for years I just let it slide. See, my job involved a lot of classified work, the kind of stuff you can't talk about. My parents never really asked what it meant, but Lucy? She decided it meant desk job, and turned it into her favorite running joke. Then she met Austin, a ranger from the 75th Regiment, all visible military and combat veteran. Suddenly, my uniform, the one I couldn't really explain, became part of their entertainment. After 7 years, I got pulled into a joint task force. My family knew nothing about it, just that I worked near Baltimore and couldn't discuss my job. Lucy, of course, made sure everyone treated that as a punchline. Lee's too busy filing to help us move, she'd say at holidays, or, don't ask Lee about work, he gets weird. My parents? They just nodded, sometimes laughed. My dad would even pat my shoulder and say, somebody's got to push papers, right? I let it go. Operational security was everything. You don't correct misconceptions, especially when lives are on the line. But Lucy wasn't satisfied with quiet digs. She needed an audience. I should have seen it coming when she started dating Austin 9 months ago. He was everything she wanted. A combat veteran who wore his tan beret to civilian events and told deployment stories at parties. She invited me to a party at her place back in February. I almost said no. I'd just finished a 48-hour shift tracking a network in Syria, but she'd insisted it would mean a lot. The apartment was packed with Austin's ranger buddies, fresh back from rotation, loud, drinking beer, talking about firefights and jumps. I showed up in jeans and a gray hoodie, exhausted, running on 3 hours of sleep and too much coffee. There he is. Lucy announced a little too loudly. My big brother Lee, government employee. One of Austin's friends, built like a tank, tattooed forearms, grinned at me. What do you do, man? Intelligence analysis? Like spy stuff. Lucy cut him off with a giggle. More like Excel spreadsheets. Lee stares at computers, files, reports. Very exciting. The guys chuckled. It wasn't mean exactly, just dismissive. Austin even chimed in, hey, no shame. We need support staff, right? Somebody's got to process the paperwork. I stayed quiet. I lasted an hour, ate some wings, watched the game. Nobody asked me anything else. Lucy kept the comments coming. Lee's too tired from typing, or don't bore them with work talk. On my way out, Austin followed me to the door. Hey man, don't take her jokes personal, he said like we were buddies. Sisters, you know she talks about you all the time. Sure. Then he asked, you really do intel work? Yeah. Where at? Can't say. He nodded like he understood, but his eyes said he thought I was exaggerating, maybe even lying. 3 weeks later my dad called. Car broke down, transmission shot. Needed $3,800. I wired it that night. Just 2 weeks after that, Lucy's Instagram flashed across my feed. Her and Austin at some high-end DC restaurant. Champagne caviar. Caption, when your man spoils you, right? I called my dad. He'd given Lucy $2,500 of my money. She needed it for Austin's birthday. I just sat in my car at Fort Meade, phone in my hand, numb. My security manager called. Situation developing in East Africa. I was needed in the operations center. I went to work. April brought the engagement announcement. Lucy called at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. I'd just gotten out of the SCIF after a 16-hour shift. Checked my phone in the parking lot. 17 missed calls. All Lucy. I called her back, already bracing myself. You couldn't even answer, she screamed. I'm engaged, Lee. This is the biggest moment of my life and you ignored me. I was working, I said, my voice flat. You're always working. Or you claim you are, she scoffed. Austin said, real military makes time for family. He said if you actually cared, you'd pick up. My jaw tightened. Tell Austin real operational security. Oh my God, stop, she cut me off. You work in an office. Stop pretending you're special forces. I didn't respond. Whatever. Austin and I are having an engagement party May 20th. You're paying for it. Lucy, you owe me. Lee, I covered for you growing up. Made you look good. Now you're going to act too important to celebrate my happiness. I didn't say that. Then you're paying. Ruth's Chris' private room. I'll send details. She hung up. I called back. She answered immediately, clearly expecting me to fold. Changed your mind? I'll come to the party, I said, my voice steady, but I'm not paying for it. Silence. What? I'm not paying. If you want Ruth's Chris, you pay for it. Are you serious right now? After everything? I've asked again and I leave entirely. Lee, you can't. I hung up. She called back. I didn't answer. She texted. I didn't respond. My dad called the next morning. I let it go to voicemail. He left a long message about family and obligations and how I was being selfish during Lucy's special time. I deleted it without listening all the way through and went back to work. That's when I met Hazel. The ER at Baltimore General was busy for a Tuesday night. I was there because I gashed my hand open on a filing cabinet drawer. Stupid accident. Deep enough for stitches. The nurse who took me back had dark hair in a bun, sharp eyes, and the calm of someone who saw bad things regularly. Her name tag said, Hazel. Filing cabinet? She asked, examining the cut. Yeah, rough day at the office. Something like that. She prepped the suture kit. This will sting. It did. I didn't react. She glanced up. You military? How'd you know? Posture. And most people flinch when I say the word, sting. You didn't blink. 9 years Army. She nodded. 3 years in this ER, you learn to read people. She stitched with clean, efficient movements. So, what does a military guy do that involves filing cabinets? Can't really talk about it. Classified. Something like that. She tied off the last suture. Well, try to keep the classified filing cabinets from attacking you. I almost smiled. I'll do my best. She handed me care instructions. Come back in 10 days for removal. Ask for me. I did. She took the stitches out and we talked. Nothing deep, just easy conversation. Someone who didn't push for answers I couldn't give. I asked if she wanted coffee. She said yes. That was 4 months before Lucy's engagement party. We'd been dating 3 months by May, long distance technically. I was at Meade, traveling for work. She was in Baltimore pulling ER shifts. Late night calls, weekend visits when our schedules aligned. Hazel didn't do drama or games. It was simple with her. One night, early May, I was on the phone venting about Lucy's latest demands. Let me get this straight, Hazel said, her voice calm. Your sister wants you to pay $3,000 for her party. That was the original demand. You said no. What happened next? She lost it. Dad left a voicemail about family obligations. Mom texted me an essay about how I'm ruining Lucy's special time. Silence. Then, if you pay, what are you buying? Peace or permission to be disrespected? I stopped pacing. What? You heard me. If you reward bad behavior, it doesn't stop. It multiplies. I didn't have an answer. Lee, she said softly. I work trauma. I know the difference between someone hurt once and someone who keeps walking back into the same fire. 2 weeks later, the engagement party invitation came. Lucy listed me as attending, but didn't include a +1. I texted her, I'm bringing Hazel. She replied instantly, no. Family only. Austin's team only. No random girlfriends. Hazel read the text over my shoulder and handed my phone back. Insulting the person you treat like an ATM is bold. I texted Lucy again, not a request. She's coming. Lucy called. I ignored it. She texted. I blocked her for 24 hours. She's going to melt down when you show up with me, Hazel predicted. Yeah, I said, a strange sense of calm settling over me. Good. Boundaries bother people who don't have any. The week before the party, a target package I'd built months earlier got executed. Cling. No civilian casualties. I got called into Chief Warrant Officer 3 Diaz's office. Staff Sergeant Reeves, she said. Not Lee, not Reeves. Full rank meant something. Yes, ma'am. The task force commander sends his compliments. That package saved lives. Thank you, ma'am. She studied me. You look like hammered hell. When did you last sleep? Few hours yesterday. Real sleep. I had to think. Week ago, maybe 4 hours. You have 89 days of unused leave. Use them. Got a family thing this weekend. I'll rest after. Does your family know what you do? No, ma'am. That must be hard. It's fine. It's not fine, she countered. But I can still order you to take leave. 2 weeks starting Monday. The party was Saturday night. I wore my dress uniform. Lucy had insisted Austin thought it was cool. Hazel wore a simple black dress, calm as ever. The hostess at Ruth's Chris looked at the list. The Reeves party. You're down for one. Make it 2, I said. She hesitated. I didn't. Before we went in, I quietly asked, "If there's a card on file under my name, remove it." The organizer paused. "Remove it," I said, "or I talk to the manager." She removed it. The private room was white and gold, about 40 people. Lucy saw Hazel and me walk in and went stiff. Austin put a hand on her arm before she could speak. There was one empty chair shoved in the far corner. I ignored it, pulled 2 chairs to the middle of the room and sat. Hazel sat beside me. My mom stared. Lucy looked like she was swallowing battery acid. Dinner started. Wine flowed. Conversation buzzed around us. Around 7:30, Lucy and Austin were whispering, Lucy gesturing toward me repeatedly. He kept shaking his head. Eventually he walked over and sat beside me. "Can we talk outside?" he asked quietly. In the hallway he looked nothing like the loud guy from the party. "Lucy's been making jokes about you since we started dating," he admitted. I went along with it. Thought it was harmless. I waited. But last week she told me her plan for tonight. This big toast where she calls me a warrior and basically implies you push paper, humiliate you in front of everyone. Why tell me? "Because I realized you've never defended yourself," he said, meeting my eyes. "And that means either you're a doormat or someone who doesn't need to prove anything to who wouldn't understand anyway. You're not a doormat." He was actually looking at me, seeing me. "What did she say when you told her to stop?" "She said I was being dramatic. That you don't mind." He paused. "Do you mind?" "Yeah, Austin. I mind." "Then I'm shutting it down. And if she goes ahead anyway, we're leaving. I'm not marrying someone who treats people like that." We went back inside. Around 8:30, Lucy stood with her wine glass. The room quieted. "Thank you all for coming," she said brightly. "This year has been incredible. I met my soulmate, my hero, Austin. You're everything I ever wanted." Austin's jaw clenched. "And I want to thank my family," she continued, "especially my big brother Lee, who managed to take time away from his very important office work to be here." Polite, forced laughter rippled through the room. "I know it must be hard for Lee," she went on, her voice dripping with false sympathy, "seeing Austin in uniform and realizing what real military service looks like. But I appreciate him showing up, even if he spends his days filing reports while Austin—" "Lucy," Austin said sharply, standing up. "Stop." "What?" She blinked, genuinely surprised. "You're disrespecting your brother in public. In his uniform. It's just a joke. He doesn't care. Right, Lee?" Everyone turned toward me. I stood, looked at her, then at my parents. "Stop," I said quietly. Silence. "We're leaving." I turned toward the door. Lucy's voice rose, shrill. "Lee, you can't just—" My mom stood. "Lee, don't be dramatic. She's just teasing." I kept walking. That's when Lucy threw the wine. The glass flew past Austin. He'd stepped between us, tried to block her, but Lucy lunged sideways. The wine caught me across the chest. Cold. Shocking. Deep red spreading across my army blues. The restaurant went completely silent. Austin spun on Lucy. "Are you out of your mind?" he roared. "He was leaving," she shouted, as if that justified it. "On my special night. After everything you've what?" Austin cut her off, his voice laced with pure fury. "Humiliated him? Mocked him? Stolen his money?" Lucy's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Austin looked at me. His eyes dropped to my chest. The wine was soaking through, dripping onto the floor. And as I shifted, my jacket tugged open. Something heavy slid from the inner pocket, then dropped. A metal clink on the tile. The coin rolled once and stopped near Austin's shoe. Austin's face changed. All the color drained out in about 2 seconds. "Oh no," he whispered. "Oh no, no, no." "What?" Lucy snapped, still defiant. "What are you?" Austin wasn't looking at her. He was staring at the coin by his boot like it was a live round. "Is that?" He started, stopped, started again. "Where did you get that?" I didn't confirm. Didn't deny. Just stood there dripping wine. Austin's hands started shaking. "How long?" "Can't talk about it," I said quietly. "Jesus Christ." He sat down hard. His whole team was staring now. A few of them had gone quiet, recognition dawning. One of Austin's buddies, the big guy from the party, leaned forward. "Wait, is that—" "Shut up," Austin said, not angry but quiet, almost pleading. "Just shut up, Cricks." He looked up at me, then at Lucy, then back at me. "I've seen that coin," Austin said, barely moving his mouth. His eyes flicked to the room, checking who could hear. "Where did you get it?" I didn't answer. "Holy hell," one of his team whispered. Austin stood up, his whole body rigid. Then he did something that made my mom gasp. Austin went still, spine straight, voice dropping into something formal, sharp with military precision. Staff Sergeant Reeves, I owe you an apology. Not here, I said. Austin dropped his hand, looked at Lucy. We're done. What? Lucy's face went white. The engagement's off. We're done. You can't. It's just Lee. He's nobody. He's always been. He's not nobody. Austin's voice was hard now, cutting through the stunned silence. You are. You made me disrespect a man who's done more in one shift than I'll do in my entire career. You made me mock someone who saves lives I'll never know about. You humiliated him, stole his money, and just assaulted him in public. I didn't assault. You threw wine on a service member in uniform. Austin spat. That's assault. And I'm not marrying someone who treats people like that. He turned to his team. We're leaving. They stood. Every one of them filed out without a word. Professional, respectful. The way soldiers move when someone with authority gives an order. Austin paused at the door, looked back at me. Thank you for your service. Real service. Then he was gone. The room exploded. Lucy sobbing. My mom shouting. My dad trying to calm everyone down. Lucy's friends pulling out their phones. My mom grabbed my arm. Lee, wait. You can't just leave. We need to fix this. No, we don't. Lucy's devastated. Her engagement is ruined. She ruined it herself. But you, my mom's voice rose. You could talk to Austin. Explain you didn't mean to embarrass him. That your job isn't actually important. That you, I pulled my arm free. My job isn't important? She faltered. I didn't mean, yeah, Mom? You did. You've meant it every time Lucy mocked me and you laughed. Every time Dad called me a paper pusher and you nodded along. You meant it every single time. My dad stepped forward. Son, you're upset. Let's all calm down. I am calm, I said, my voice dangerously even. I'm also done. I walked out. Hazel followed. The parking lot was quiet. Cool May night. We got to the car. A 10-year-old Honda Civic. Paid off. Reliable. I checked my phone. Lucy 8 missed calls. Mom 4. Dad 3. I blocked all 3 numbers. Hazel leaned against the car. Well, that was something. Yeah, your sister really threw wine at you. She did. And your parents told you to clean up. They did. She looked at me. You okay? I thought about it. Yeah, I think I am. That Austin guy seemed decent once he figured out who you actually are. She paused. He was your family, though? She shook her head. There's something else. Yeah, I said, starting the car. They are. We drove back to Baltimore. I stripped off the uniform at my apartment. The wine had set into the fabric. Probably ruined. Showered until the water went cold. Hazel ordered takeout. We ate in silence. You know what's coming next, right? She said finally. What? The apology that's not an apology. The justification with an apology filter. I almost laughed. How do you know? Because I've seen families like yours in the ER. They show up after treating someone like garbage. Act shocked when there's consequences, then explain why it wasn't really their fault. Every single time. She was right. The next morning, I slept until noon. First real rest I'd had in days. The messages started immediately. Day 1. Lucy called from different numbers. I didn't answer. She left voicemails. All variations of the same theme. I'd ruined her life. Austin's team was spreading rumors. His friends were calling her cruel. Her own friends were distancing themselves. It was all my fault. I deleted them without listening all the way through. Day 2. My dad showed up at my apartment at 7 a.m. I'd just gotten out of the shower. We need to talk, he said when I opened the door. No, we don't. Lucy's a mess. The wedding's off. Her friends are turning on her. Austin's team is spreading stories. You could fix this. How? Tell people it was a misunderstanding. That your job isn't actually whatever Austin thought it was. I stared at him. You want me to lie about my service so Lucy looks better? I want you to help your family. I've been helping my family for 9 years. Covered your rent, paid Mom's dental bills, sent Lucy money for every emergency that turned into a shopping trip. I'm done. Lee, you gave Lucy $2,500 of the money I sent you for car repairs. Money I sent because you asked for help. You turned around and gave it to her for a birthday party. His face went red. She needed? I don't care what she needed. You asked me for help, then gave my money to someone else. That's theft. And when she threw wine on me last night, you laughed. Mom laughed. Neither of you defended me. Not once, not ever. We didn't know your job was important. You never asked. You just assumed I was lying or exaggerating. And you let Lucy mock me for 3 years because it made her feel good. He didn't have an answer. Leave, I said. Your mother? Leave. I closed the door. Day 3, Chief Warrant Officer Diaz told me to stop by her office. I'd been on leave for 2 days. That alone put a knot in my stomach. Reeves, sit. I sat. You're on leave and I'm still pulling you in, she said, her voice flat. That should tell you how this looks from my chair. She studied me for a beat. When you told me you had a family thing this weekend, you looked like you were walking into a fight. So, I'm asking once, are you okay? It was personal, ma'am, I said. Won't affect my work. Personal can still grind you down, she said. Did anyone put hands on you? I hesitated. My sister threw a drink at me in public while I was in uniform. Diaz's expression tightened. Understood. You're one of the best targeters in this task force, she continued. But Reeves, you need to understand something. You don't owe access to people who don't respect you, family or otherwise. Yes, ma'am. I'm serious. This job is hard enough. You don't need people tearing you down when you're not working. Your leave stands. 2 weeks. Rest. Figure out your boundaries. Come back ready to work. That's an order. That night, Hazel called. How you holding up? Okay. Chief gave me 2 weeks mandatory leave. Good. You need it? Listen, I have news. Yeah. Hopkins offered me a position. Trauma surgery track. Better pay, better hours, actual career progression. My chest tightened, but with excitement for her. That's amazing. You taking it? I am. And I'm moving closer to you. Found a place in Columbia, halfway between Hopkins and Meade. Yeah. Help me move in next week? Absolutely. We spent the following week moving her stuff. She had one box labeled boundaries in marker. What's in it? I asked. Bubble wrap for defending personal space. Her deadpan delivery almost made me laugh. On day 5 of my leave, I was helping her assemble a bookshelf when my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Yeah, Lee Reeves. Male voice, older, unfamiliar. Who's asking? Frank Reeves, your uncle. Your dad's brother. I hadn't talked to Uncle Frank in probably 6 years. He lived in Pennsylvania, showed up for major holidays, kept to himself. What's up, Frank? Wanted to give you a heads up. Your parents are telling people you had some kind of breakdown. That you attacked Lucy at her engagement party. That you're unstable and they're worried about you. My hand tightened on the phone. They're saying what? Richard called me 2 days ago. Said you'd flipped out at the party, embarrassed Lucy on purpose, and that Austin left because you threatened him. Said they're considering getting you a wellness check. Hazel looked up from the shelf she was working on, mouthed, "What's wrong?" I put the phone on speaker. Frank, none of that's true. I figured. Richard's been covering for Lucy since she was 16. Anything goes wrong, it's someone else's fault. Usually yours. He paused. What actually happened? I told him. The whole thing, the money, the mockery, the wine. Austin recognizing my unit affiliation and calling off the engagement. Silence on the other end. Then that little psycho threw wine on you? Yeah. Anne Mary and Richard laughed. Yeah. Jesus. Frank exhaled hard. Listen, I can't stop them from spreading stories. But I can make some calls. Set the record straight with family. If they try the wellness check nonsense, I'll shut it down. You don't deserve this. Thanks, Frank. You need anything, you call me. I mean it. You're a good kid, Lee. Always have been. Don't let them make you think otherwise. He hung up. Hazel looked at me. They're trying to control the narrative. Yeah. You going to let them? I thought about it. No. She smiled. Good. Want me to help you draft a message? We spent the next hour writing an email. Clean, professional, no emotion, just facts and boundaries. To Richard Reeves, Mary Reeves, Lucy Reeves. From Lee Reeves. Subject, boundaries going forward. I'm writing to establish clear expectations. I will not be attending family events. I will not be providing financial support. I will not be available for phone calls, texts, or in-person visits. If you spread false information about me, I will correct the record publicly with documentation. If you continue to contact me after this message, I will pursue legal options including restraining orders. This is not negotiable. This is not temporary. These are permanent boundaries based on years of disrespect and recent assault. Do not contact me again. Lee. I read it 3 times. Hazel read it twice. Send it, she said. I sent it. My mom responded within an hour. A long email, 3 paragraphs, explaining how I'd misunderstood, how Lucy was just joking, how family forgives, how I was being cruel and vindictive and breaking my mother's heart. Hazel read it over my shoulder. "That's not an apology," she said. "That's a justification with an apology filter." I deleted it without responding. The next few months were quiet. I went back to work, threw myself into it, built packages, tracked targets, did the job. Hazel and I fell into a rhythm. She worked trauma shifts at Hopkins. I worked classified shifts at Meade. We'd meet in the middle, cook dinner, talk about nothing. It was the most normal my life had ever felt. In July, I got selected for Staff Sergeant First Class. Pinning ceremony would be later that year. Chief Diaz also recommended me for a position at USACOM headquarters in Tampa, Special Operations Command. The kind of posting that could make a career. I accepted. Hazel got offered a trauma fellowship at Tampa General the same week. She accepted too. "Looks like we're moving to Florida," she said. "Yeah," I smiled. "Looks like it." We packed up her place in Columbia, drove south in August, found an apartment near MacDill Air Force Base and started building a life. I didn't hear from my family. No calls, no emails, nothing. Frank called once to check in. "They're still telling people you're unstable. Richard tried to get me to agree you need help." He chuckled dryly. I told him if anyone needs help, it's Lucy for assaulting a service member. "Thanks, Frank. You good down there?" "Yeah, really good." And I was. Work was intense but satisfying. Hazel was thriving in her fellowship. We had friends, a routine piece. Then in November, 6 months after the engagement party, Lucy showed up at our apartment. I was getting home from a 14-hour shift when I saw her sitting on the stairs outside our building. Lucy. Thinner than I remembered, dark circles under her eyes. She stood up when she saw me. "Lee, please. I need to talk to you." I stopped. "How did you get this address?" "Mom gave it to me." "Please, just 5 minutes." "No. Lee, my life is falling apart. Austin won't talk to me. I can't date anyone military. I lost my job. You need to leave." I'm sorry I threw wine on you. Mocked you. I didn't understand." "You understood perfectly. You didn't care. I was jealous. Please. I'm your sister. Family forgives. Family respects each other. You never did." The door behind me opened. Hazel stepped out, came down the stairs and stood next to me. "Who's this?" Lucy asked, her voice sharp, instantly on the defensive. "Hazel, my girlfriend." Lucy looked her up and down, sneering. "You brought a stranger too." "She's not a stranger." "You are." Hazel didn't say anything. Just stood there, a solid presence. Lucy's face twisted. "Fine. Be like that. But you're going to regret this, Lee. Family doesn't forget. We'll be here when you come crawling back. Don't hold your breath." She left, got in a beat-up sedan and drove off. Hazel watched her go. "She drove 6 hours to ambush you on the stairs. Apparently that's not an apology. That's manipulation." "I know." We went inside. I called Frank and told him what happened. He sighed. "I'll call Richard. Let him know that was out of line. But Lee, they're not going to stop. They think if they push hard enough, you'll break." "I won't." "I know you won't. Just wanted you to know what you're dealing with." 2 weeks later, my mom sent a letter. Actual paper mail. 6 pages. Handwritten. How I'd changed. How the military made me cold. How Lucy was struggling because of what I'd allowed to happen. How I owed them loyalty. How I needed to apologize to my sister and make it right. The last line, "Until then you're choosing to be alone. I hope it's worth it." I showed it to Hazel. "They don't miss you," she said. "They miss access." I shredded the letter. But the visits didn't stop. December brought my dad. He showed up at the gate at MacDill, told the gate guard he was there to see his son. The guard called me. I told him I didn't know anyone by that name. My dad was escorted off base. He called from the parking lot. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. "Lee, I drove 8 hours. You can't even talk to me for 5 minutes? This is ridiculous. You're acting like a child. Call me back." I blocked the number. January brought an email from Lucy. Subject, "Please read this." 12 paragraphs about counseling, about jealousy issues, about feeling inadequate, about how sorry she was, how she wanted to rebuild. The last line, "I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I'm asking anyway because that's what family does." Hazel read it over my shoulder. It's still all about her feelings. Nothing about what she actually did to you. I didn't respond. February marked 9 months since the engagement party. I was on track for Staff Sergeant First Class. DS told me I was ahead of the curve for my year group. Hazel was wrapping up her fellowship, had offers from 3 hospitals. We were building something good, something that didn't include people who treated me like a backup plan. Then in March I got a call from Frank. Lee, you sitting down? What happened? Richard had a heart attack. He's at PMC in critical condition. Mary called me, asked me to tell you. She wants you to come home. My chest tightened. How bad? Bad. They're not sure he's going to make it. I sat down. Hazel appeared in the doorway, a questioning look on her face. I'll call you back, Frank. I hung up. Told Hazel what happened. You going to go? She asked. I don't know. It's your dad. He's not my dad, I said, the words feeling heavy. He's the guy who gave my money to Lucy and laughed when she threw wine on me. Hazel sat next to me. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But I'll tell you this. If you go and he recovers, they're going to use it as proof you still care. That you'll come back if they push the right buttons. If you don't go and he dies, you'll wonder if you should have. What would you do? She thought about it. I'd go. Not for them, for me. So I'd know I gave them one last chance and they either took it or they didn't. But I'd go with boundaries. Clear ones. And I'd leave the second they crossed them. I called Frank back. I'll come up, but I'm not staying. And if they try anything, I'm gone. Fair enough. I'll meet you at the hospital. The flight to Pennsylvania took 3 hours. Hazel came with me. We rented a car and drove to the hospital in silence. Frank met us in the lobby, looking older than I remembered. He's in ICU, he said. Stabilized but touch and go. Mary's up there. So is Lucy. Great. He glanced at Hazel. You must be the girlfriend. Hazel, trauma nurse. Good, he said, a grim smile. We might need you. In the elevator he added, fair warning. Your parents are telling everyone you abandoned the family. They're playing the victim hard. Of course they are. The ICU waiting room was small. My mom sat red-eyed, clutching tissues. Lucy beside her. They both looked up when we walked in. My mom's face flickered through shock, relief, anger, and landed on wounded. Lee, you came. How is he? Critical. They induced a coma. We won't know about brain damage for 48 hours. Her voice cracked. He might not wake up. I nodded but didn't move closer. Lucy stood. Can we talk privately? No. Lee, please. Dad's dying. Can you put aside whatever? Whatever? What? The assault? The mockery? The money you stole? Her face blanched. I apologized. No. You sent me an email about your feelings. That's not an apology. My mom rose. Lee, this is not the time. Then when is the time to talk about how you let her steal from me? How you laughed when she threw wine on me? How you told people I'd had a breakdown? We never. Frank told me everything. My mom's mouth opened but nothing came out. A doctor appeared. Reeves' family. His condition has stabilized. Cautiously optimistic. No visitors tonight. My mom sagged with relief. Lucy cried. The doctor left. I turned toward the door. My mom grabbed my arm. Where are you going? Hotel. You should stay at the house. We have room. I'd rather sleep in my car. Lee, please. Your father is dying. He's stable. And this isn't an emergency anymore. It's you trying to use a crisis to force contact. That's not fair. I pulled my arm free. Here's what's going to happen. I'll come back tomorrow. I'll see Dad. If he wants to talk, I'll listen. But I'm not staying with you. And if you try to manipulate me again, I'm gone permanently. Lucy stepped forward, her voice venomous. You're being cruel. Dad could die and you're... Say one more word and I walk out right now. She shut up. I left. Hazel followed. Frank caught up with us in the parking lot. That went about as expected, he said. Thanks for the warning. My treat. Hotel room has 2 beds. You and Hazel can crash there. We accepted. The next morning my dad was awake. Groggy, weak but awake. The nurse let me in alone. He looked at me. Lee. Hey Dad. You came. Yeah. A long silence. He looked pale. Smaller somehow. I'm sorry, he whispered, his voice raspy. I should have stopped her. Defended you. I didn't. I was wrong. Yeah, you were. Can you forgive me? I thought about it. I don't know. You had 9 years to defend me. 9 years to tell Lucy to stop. 9 years to treat me like more than a checkbook. You chose her every time. He nodded, eyes wet. I know. So here's the deal, I continued, my voice firm. If you recover, things are different. I'm not your backup plan. I'm not your ATM. If you want a relationship, you earn it. You set boundaries with Lucy. You treat me with respect. If you can't do that, we're done. Okay, he whispered. I mean it. I understand. I left. My mom tried to stop me. I kept walking. Lucy waited outside. What did he say? She demanded. That's between me and him. I need to know if, Lucy, you assaulted me, stole my money, mocked me for years, and you've never once actually apologized. You've talked about feelings, about jealousy, about wanting forgiveness, but you've never said, I was wrong. I did apologize. No, you made excuses. Until you do, there's nothing to discuss. What do you want from me? Nothing. Leave me alone. We're family. Family doesn't treat each other like you treated me. We're just related. I walked away. She didn't follow. Hazel was waiting in the rental car. How'd it go? Dad apologized. Sort of. Lucy tried to pry. I shut it down. You okay? Yeah, I'm good. We drove back to Tampa that afternoon. My dad recovered slowly. He called once, asked how I was. 10-minute small talk, no mention of Lucy, no guilt trips, just conversation. The first real one we'd had in years. My mom sent a letter, 1 page this time. I know we failed you. I don't know how to fix it, but I'm proud of you. I'm proud of your service. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. I kept the letter, didn't respond. Lucy never contacted me again. Frank called every few weeks with updates on Dad and the rest of the family. He became the bridge I didn't know I needed. In June, a year after the engagement party, Hazel and I were having dinner when she said, So, I've been looking at houses. Yeah. There's a place near MacDill. 3 bedrooms, room for an office. I'm thinking my chest warmed. Yeah, if you want. I thought about the past year. The peace, the boundaries. Hazel, steady, sharp, loyal. She smiled. Good showings on Saturday. We bought the house in July. Moved in August. Built something that wasn't held together by obligation or guilt. For the first time in my life, I felt at home. 6 months later, Austin emailed me. Short, professional. Staff Sergeant Reeves, wanted to let you know I made Sergeant First Class and moved into a training role at Benning. I tell your story to every new Ranger class. Not the classified parts, just the part about respect. About how real professionals don't brag, they just do the work. Thank you for the example. Stay safe. SFC Austin. I read it twice, then went to find Hazel in the backyard planting tomatoes. Austin emailed. I said, yeah. What did he say? I told her. She brushed dirt from her hands. Sounds like he learned something. Yeah. You going to respond? I thought about it. No. He said what he needed to say. She nodded and went back to planting. I watched her, steady, building something real. Some people will never see you for who you are. And that's okay. You don't need them to. You just need to finally see yourself. And I did. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you had to cut ties with family to protect your own peace and self-worth? What was the hardest boundary you ever had to set, and how did it change your life? Tell me your stories in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear what you think.